Hello and welcome to this practice that is meant to be pretty quick, efficient, somewhat vigorous, so that if you need to get a little bit more energetic movement in, or you feel that you need to kind of release excess energy, or you need to be preparing to sit down at a desk to do some work, or maybe even do a meditation and you need to get some movement in, you can use this practice for that. It can also be just if you're short on time and you feel like flowing, it'll be good for that as well. So we'll do a few Sun A's, some Sun B's, weave in some other practices. We'll end with some seated Ujjayi breathing, and I'll do just a brief tutorial when we get there, and then a sitting quietly for about 1 minute, and then you can proceed from that point. I will be using full Sun Salutations in this practice. If you are not comfortable with those, or those aren't currently in your practice, my other videos, I use half Sun Salutes often, and you're welcome to use one of those or modify in any way that you see fit. So you could skip the process of lowering down from plank to either chaturanga or cobra. You could just simply step right back from downward facing dog. So as always, please do whatever works best for you and your body, and you can adapt as you go as well. So I'm working under the assumption, if you're going to take this class, that you do have some familiarity with Sun Salutation A and B, but modify as you see fit. This cueing during that portion will be a little more direct. So I just wanted to make it clear that, as always, my practices are meant to be to meet you where you are. You're always welcome to adapt and modify it as you see fit. So with that, we'll go ahead and begin. So you'll come to the top of your mat, or wherever you're practicing, and we'll take a moment to center. You could have your feet about hips distance. You could practice with your big toe mounds connected in a little space between your heels if you like, so whatever you prefer there. And we'll feel for feet on the ground. You could come into an intentional mountain pose here if you like, lengthening through your spine, maybe softening your shoulders down. If you want to bring your hands to touch at heart center and Ujjayi Mudra, you're welcome to do that. I'll begin the practice with an oomph. You can join or just listen. I'm taking a moment. If you want to set an intention, even for this brief practice, you're welcome to. Maybe a slower, deeper breath if that feels available to you now. And we'll take an exhale, and then inhale, prepare for oomph. All right, we'll begin with Sun Salutation A, 3 of those, and then 2 Sun B's. As you're ready, inhale your arms up, connect palms if you like. Exhale to fold down, as much bend in the knees as you need. Inhale for your halfway lift to elongate the spine. Exhale, plant hands, step your feet back. Plank pose, and then if you're taking the flow here, lower all the way down to belly, or cobra, chaturanga, your choice. So chaturanga or cobra, and then up and back to downward facing dog. And we'll find a down dog. You're welcome to come into stillness if you want to practice in that way with your down dog. If you need to move and shift, you're welcome to do that as well. And we'll take a few more breaths here. Maybe some full breathing. Feeling pressing the ground away with your hands, maybe spinning your armpits towards each other. Do one more breath. And as you're ready, step or hop your feet to your hands. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And then you can come to stand, reach your arms up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart. We'll take that again. Inhale, arms up. Full inhale, exhale to fold. Release your hands and head. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Planting your hands, stepping or hopping your feet back. Your flow here, either cobra or chaturanga. Inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. And we'll breathe here. And maybe just slow and steady the breath once more. Finding that subtle hollowing out of the low belly if you like. Feeling your heels magnetized towards the ground, although they do not have to touch. So as much bend in the knees as you need to prioritize a long spine. 2 more breaths here. And as you're ready, step or hop your feet feet to your hands. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And then come to stand up as you're ready. Sweep your arms around, palms touch. And exhale, hands to heart. Maybe we'll take one more. Inhale, arms around and up, palms touch. Exhale to fold all the way down over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Planting your hands, stepping or hopping your feet back. Your flow, maybe it's right to down dog. Inhale for cobra, chaturanga. Pressing back, exhale, downward facing dog. And we'll breathe. Steady breathing, perhaps setting your gaze if that feels comfortable to you in between your feet or your knees. You can feel for length in the back of the neck. And press the ground away, spread through your shoulders. Maybe one more breath. And as you're ready, step right up, feet to hands. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And then press through your feet to stand all the way up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart. We'll release down. We'll take a moment, collect yourself before we move on to Sun B. So maybe it's an intentional mountain pose, a moment to steady your breath. You decide if you want your feet together or a little wider for Sun Salutation B. And as you're ready, we'll take chair pose. Sinking hips down, maybe your arms reach up. They could also stay in prayer if you like. And then exhale to fold all the way down over your legs. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Once more. Planting your hands, stepping your feet back. Cobra or chaturanga, your choice. Inhaling up. Exhale, downward facing dog. And we'll switch the feet right away. So putting an angle in the left foot. Step your right foot forward for warrior one. Arms could come up, maybe gaze follows. Exhale, release your hands down. Step your right foot back. Find your flow. Could always just take a down dog in between and skip the chaturanga or cobra. Coming back to downward facing dog. Angling your right foot, stepping your left foot forward for warrior one. Reaching the arms up, maybe gaze follows. Releasing your hands down to bring your front foot. Step back, find your flow. And we'll meet once more in downward facing dog. And notice how quickly you can come to re-regulation. Steady and slow down your breath. If you want to drop your knees here and take a puppy pose or child's pose, you're welcome to. Be a few more breaths here. Steady gaze, steady breath. And as you're ready, step or hop. Feet to hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Chair pose. Singing hips down. Sweep your arms up. Chair pose of your choice. I'm connecting palms and gaze. You do as you wish. Coming to stand as you're ready. And release your arms down. And we'll breathe. We'll take a pause. Reset. And we'll take one more Sun B as you're ready. Chair pose. Hips come down. Maybe sweep your arms up. Maybe gaze follows. And then exhale to fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Plant your hands, step your feet back. Cobra or chaturanga, your choice. Peeling up. Shifting back, downward facing dog. Warrior one, right foot forward. Maybe arms raised, gaze could follow if you like. Releasing your hands down, exhale, step your right foot back. Find your flow. Inhale for cobra or chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot forward. As you're ready, warrior one. And release your hands down. Exhale. Good. Inhale, cobra, chaturanga, your choice. And exhale, downward facing dog. And we'll pause once more. Downward dog. Maybe feeling for some length in the back of your neck. Elongating through your armpits. Even spinning them towards each other. Feeling that sense of energy in all directions, lengthening through the feet and the legs, pressing your hands into the mat. Be one more breath here. And as you're ready, step or hop, feet to hands. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold. chair pose. Final time, sinking your hips down. Maybe your arms reach up, maybe they're connected together at your heart. And then we'll stand all the way up when you're ready. And we'll release the hands down. All right, take a moment once more, if you like, to reset. I always have to make adjustments to what I'm wearing. Steady your breath. Of course, if you need to move and continue to shake things out, you're welcome to. Maybe it feels good to come into some stillness. All right. From here, we'll work our way down to downward facing dog. I'm just going to step back this time, and we'll go from there. Sweep your arms around if you like, palms touch. Exhale to fold over your legs. Inhale for your halfway lift, flatten out the back. Exhale to fold. Planting your hands, stepping your feet all the way back. If you want to insert another flow there, you're welcome to, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Once more. Steady your breath, and then from here, maybe narrowing out your stance just a little. So stepping your feet a little closer to your hands. You can widen your feet as well. I'm going to widen my feet. And then we'll shift the weight back. Right hand will come to left ankle, and then feel for a little spinning of your torso to the side as you gaze under your left arm. So a twist. If this does not feel available to you, that is absolutely fine. You can stay in down dog and pedal it out and shift your hips around instead. We'll switch that out if you're going for it. So planting your right hand, left hand going for right ankle and twist. You can also put a bend in either knee. So you could put a big bend in the left knee to help facilitate the rotation, your choice. And as you're ready, we'll make our way back to downward facing dog. And then we'll shift the weight forward and lower the knees down. Let's grab a quick puppy pose. So from here, walking your hands toward the top of the mat and lowering your forehead down as your hips lift. And feel for a lengthening through the spine. So the forehead can meet the mat. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You could lower your chest down. Whatever's available to you. Full breathing. And then we'll make our way to a tabletop and we'll prepare for a side plank. So we'll do side plank on each side. You can choose if you want to do full or supported side plank. I'll demo supported. So do which either preference you wish, and we'll roll over either way to the right side. For the supported, you'll kickstand your right leg out and then roll over onto the right side. And then push the ground away with your right hand so your hips are lifting. If you want a full side plank, you can just lift the leg up and stack it over the other one. Ooh, arm can reach up. Or supported, the knee stays down. So your arm can lift straight up, or you can take it over your ear. You could experiment with your gaze. Gaze could be up or looking straight ahead or down, your choice. Be one or two more full breaths. Feeling for some engagement through your shoulders, a lot of engagement. And then as you're ready, we'll roll over to the other side. Either supported or full side plank on the left. Planting your left hand down, reaching your right arm up. So push the ground away with your left hand. You think drawing the ribs in and lifting the hips up. Maybe gaze looks up, maybe your arm reaches over your ear. So any options here, take them, whatever variations you prefer in your side plank. And if you can just feel for steady breathing. And then as you're ready, we'll roll out. We'll come into cow pose. So finding a cow, inhale if you like here, catch an inhale when you're ready. And then exhale to round your back for cat. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale for cow pose. And exhale for cat. 1 more time, inhale for cow. And then opening through your chest, arch in the back. Exhale to round your back, spread your shoulder blades, push the ground away. And we'll come to neutral. From here, we'll lower down. And we'll take 3 little cobras here. Little or big, your choice. You can draw your hands or your fingertips under your shoulders and then pull your elbows in. Feet can be together a little bit wider, your choice. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Lift up on your kneecaps here if you like. Maybe draw down your tailbone just a little so you feel your low belly engaged, and then we'll inhale to peel up and exhale to lower. And we'll do 2 more. So it could be just a little baby cobra as you peel your chest up, or maybe you want to go bigger. It's up to you and your back. We'll lower down. 1 more time to open. Full inhale if you can catch it. Exhale to lower. And we'll shift hips back. Child's pose. Child's pose. Any variation. Arms could be reaching forward, or you might stack your hands and rest your forehead down. You could even take your arms back behind you. So your choice. And we'll feel for some steady breath. You can widen out your knees if you like. Maybe 2 more breaths here. And we'll start to make our way up and out of that, and we'll come into a seat. So now coming into a seat, if you feel inclined to continue to do a little bit more movement there, so if that doesn't feel like enough, you're welcome to add anything on that you like. Take us through a quick seated twist, and then we'll get steady for our Ujjayi breathing and the seated minute or so rest, which you could take seated or lying down if you like, depending on where your energy levels are. I'm gonna go ahead and sit on a blanket. So you're welcome to grab anything to sit on if you like. And we'll find ourselves in a comfortable seat. So maybe cross-legged, you could straighten your legs as well. And taking a moment and feel for your sitting bones and your legs on the ground, your spine lengthening. From here, we'll inhale, arms up. And then twist over to the right, releasing your hands down, front hand coming to opposite knee, back hand behind you for support, like a kickstand. If you have your legs straight, you could pull your right knee in and twist toward the right. So that would be the variation with the straight legs. So twisting to the right, really any variation you like. Maybe you're looking straight ahead. Maybe you twist a little deeper and feel for your gaze coming back behind you. You can feel for inhale to elongate through the spine, and then exhale, maybe a little deeper twist. Always your choice though, range of motion. And as you're ready, we'll come back to center. We'll reach the arms up, so maybe connecting to some length here, and then rotate to the left as you're ready, releasing your hands down. Front hand could come across to the opposite knee, back hand behind you for support. Staying long, shoulders at ease, face and jaw at ease. Another breath, maybe to inhale once more to lengthen through the spine, and exhale to rotate. And as you're ready, we'll come back to center. I'm gonna release that out. From here, beginning to resettle into the seat. So any seat of your choice, and we'll prepare for Ujjayi. If Ujjayi breathing is something new to you or not in your practice, I'm gonna give a very brief tutorial. I'm hoping to put more of those kinds of things on my channel, but there's lots of information out on the internet about Ujjayi breathing. You're welcome to check it out if it's very new to you and you don't feel super comfortable with it. The alternative instead of Ujjayi would be just breathe a little slower and a little deeper to your comfort level. Ujjayi breathing is that slight constriction of the back of the throat. It can sound like a whisper. It can sound like if you were fogging up a mirror, that kind of dynamic in the back of the throat. You could use it, kind of maintain that Ujjayi or a little bit of that closing off at the back of the throat on your inhale and exhale, or you could just use it for your exhalation. So that's the breath. And again, we'll pace it out a little more, a little slower and deeper than perhaps your natural rhythm. So you could go for a 4 count inhale, 6 count exhale, something like that. You can go equal length inhale, exhale if you're looking for more of a balancing dynamic, or lengthen out the exhale if you want to bias a little more towards the rest and digest side of the nervous system. So we won't do this for too long. I'll count out about 10 or 11 breaths. If you want to do more and stay longer, you're welcome to. You could turn it into more of a 5-minute pranayama practice if you like, or whatever feels available to you, timing wise and so on. but we'll keep it brief and then add on if you wish. You could go for a little slight tuck of the chin. This creates that bandha or lock at the throat level as well, or this subtle lock, baby throat lock. If that feels good to you, to lengthen the back of the neck. Hands can be resting in your lap. You could take a mudra if you want to practice that, maybe Jñāna Mudra or Chin Mudra, pointer finger, thumb connect, the other 3 fingers releasing away. Palms could be up or down, your choice. Eyes can be opened or closed. And beginning just to notice your breathing as it is right now. So some breath awareness first. And then when you feel ready, gradually starting to deepen and slow down your breath to your comfort level. You don't necessarily have to count either. You can just go for feel of it. And then if you'd like to incorporate the Ujjayi, when you're ready for that, you could begin to create that slight whisper, a slight constriction in the back of the throat. You will be able to hear a little bit of that vibration, but it doesn't need to be loud or overly vigorous. So it's still very subtle. And from here, I'll count out about 10 more breaths. So stay with the Ujjayi if you like, or just a slower, deeper breath to your comfort level. Be a final couple of rounds, if you're still in it. And then when you're ready to let that go, you're welcome to gradually release the Ujjayi, start to settle back into your natural breathing rhythm. And then we'll just sit quietly. You can keep the mudra, you can let it go if you're letting it go, just to shake out your hands, maybe circle your wrists a few times, wiggle your fingers. If you want to take a rest, you can stay seated, or you could lie down on your back. So whatever feels best to you. And I'll count us out about a minute or so of just either lying down or seated, stillness and quiet. If you don't feel like you want to engage with this part of the practice, you're welcome to move on. Otherwise, I'll leave us here and cue us out in about a minute. If you notice your shoulders have crept up or there's any tension making its way back into your body, you're welcome to let all of that go. If your mind is still distracting you, you could just keep your focus on your breath, or perhaps you become aware of the thoughts and just watch them come and go without trying to resist them or cling to anything in particular. So you could become aware of just the thinking, thoughts as they come and go. If there's any other anchor of attention you want to use, you're welcome to do that. And I'll leave us here for about a minute. reawaken. If your eyes were closed, you could open them. If you feel like you want to take any other stretching, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and close out this practice. If you like bringing your palms together to touch at your heart center, be taking a moment to thank yourself for tending to you. I'll close us out with Om and then the Metta prayer and leave it there. If you want to join me, and find an exhale, inhaling to prepare. And then bowing to your own heart, may you be filled with loving kindness, may you be well, may you be peaceful and at ease, may you be happy. Thank you so much.